if you could just go ahead and start off just for everyone who's watching and stuff like that, like kind of like what do you coach people on with Teammate and everything? Like what is Teammate?
Yeah, so Teammate Real Estate is a leading real estate entrepreneurial network, and our main emphasis is on group coaching, but we also have one-on-one coaching, field training, and a full-fledged academy from residential, wholesaling to commercial. We also have a capital school on teaching others how to use the OPM strategy, other people's money. And we also have built out a lot to do with our lending listing service. So helping people actually get in touch with lenders and mortgage brokers and everything to do with the finance world. And we're really big on networking. We're still operating right now and doing great things, and we've expanded into the USA now. So yeah, pretty excited about what's to come with Teammate for sure.
Absolutely. And I know I cut you off right before because we were just saying, hey, let's just have a conversation. You said, oh, here's what I love about Chris, and I stopped you. So I don't necessarily want to stop too much, but I know you started mentioning, hey, here's what I enjoyed about working together. So if you want, just I'd love to
Yeah,
share a little.
yeah. So like the biggest thing, Chris, and working with you is just the understanding of the systemization of how to run a business, right? Like oftentimes, and mainly with what I learned with you is the fact that traffic doesn't automatically equal sales, right? It's traffic plus conversions equals sales, and you have to understand that there are systems involved with that. There's a back end, right? So I had a lot of the working parts, in place, but they weren't bound together. I knew nothing about the right CRMs and customer relationship management tools, and knowing what is trending for coaches and consultants and anyone that has an advisory practice. So I was pretty lost on that front. I had some very substandard systems in place related to setting, closing, sales as a whole, but nothing in depth. So that to me is worth more than even the sales itself, is having the foundation, right? Because you could build something and have the intention to build something really tall and freestanding, but if there's no foundation in place, you're not going to be able to scale. And so those systems that are in place, I've actually used a lot of those systems, not just with Teammate, with my other consulting practices as well. And because of those systems, they have taken off, into the multi-millions. So if it wasn't for those systems that I've learned, with you, uh, I really wouldn't be at the place where I'm at now, because you need to understand that there's soft systems with human resources, there's hard systems with the right, real estate you need for your business, the infrastructure, right? And then most importantly, the information systems, how the soft and the hard systems communicate with each other, how they're bound together, right? If you don't have those systems in place, it's like building train tracks, right? It's hard at first and backbreaking, but a locomotive can run on it once it's in place. So that's really what happened with my experience with you. Was the sales were also there. We had some sales going on there where we turned, a small amount of money into, 5x minimum ROAS. We were into, starting with just a small budget of thousands, right? So that part to me really proved itself. But it was more, I think, what I needed more than anything was what I mentioned earlier, was the systems and the infrastructure, because I wasn't in a position to even scale until working with you. So I definitely was doing it the old-fashioned way. I'd made the millions, handshaking and networking and seminars, but nothing to what I'm doing now, which is mostly online. So definitely a focal point on those items is how you helped me a lot.
Yeah, I appreciate the kind words on kind of going to your old self of what you were saying of like, okay, maybe I didn't understand like these certain systems. That's honestly like a lot of coaches. They think like, oh, like I just need to get sales or I need this, but they don't kind of understand the full picture. Speaking to kind of your older self that now understands like, oh my gosh, like I need these systems. What would you say kind of to old Valen about stuff that you needed and such?
I would say it's building your business on the solid ground and the rock, right? not just the sand. Because a lot of entrepreneurs, they get excited, they do a lot of busy work, but it's not always effective, right? We're spending our times doing things that could easily be duplicated, right? Through using systems, using information systems online, CRMs like Go High Level is one of the big foundations that I still use today, and understanding how those kinds of systems can be used in your business versus using, very basic systems like Trello and Pipedrive, like I was using before. They were not as robust. So it's like talking to my old self, just saying that you got to spend the time on buying back your time and freeing up your time by replacing them with systems. Until then, you're doing things the old fashioned way, right? You can't keep up with the modern economy at all. There is a place for shaking hands and networking and being in a room full of people, but if you're the one doing all of that work, and so are your colleagues, you can't really, there's no leveraging act there, right? It's There's a bottleneck that you're going to hit eventually, and I definitely hit that before.
Cool. Well, one last quick
Hmm.
question for you. For anyone who is maybe on the fence or like, they're most likely watching this because like, is this Chris guy legit? Is this Chris guy real? Is he a scam? Like all that sort of stuff. Who's like questioning and stuff. What message would you share to them about possibly working with me and my team?
Well, I would say that when you're looking to work with someone, you not only want to look to see if they have the results, which you do. You scaled companies, to 8 figures. That was appealing to me, but that's not actually the main reason why I enjoyed working with you. It was more about character, integrity, and ethics. To me, those three things are bigger than. I'd rather work with someone that, if it was a choice between someone that had similar results, every single time I would choose the person or the agency that's led by the leader that it has the ethics, integrity, and the moral standpoint, right? Because without a moral compass that is both on and off the court, like there's going to eventually be some sort of ethical dilemma or greed that you run into, right? As long as you're bound by those, that kind of code of conduct, and you have moral character, I think that's, for me, was the main reason why. Uh, Not only do I still continue to call you and pester you for advice today, but as back then was the same reason why I kept, believing, and it eventually worked out in my favor, right? And it helped me a lot. So that's what I would say to people watching is like, you don't only look at what's on the court, it's also what's off the court. There's a lot of people that are good on the court, and then as soon as they're off the court, they're up to no good and in all sorts of trouble, and you're just nothing to be proud of, right? And they're honestly not genuine, because like if you can't be the same as you are when no one's watching, then to me there's a flaw and a design error there, right? So that's the main reason why I think I joined, and why I continue to call you up, and why others should too.
Awesome. Well, Valen, I appreciate the kind words. I've enjoyed working with you, and I'm excited for what the future holds on future ventures and stuff. So thank you again,
Yeah.
and we'll
All right.